It's time for honor mode. Hold on,
I'm back.
Are you still on the journey screen?
No. I'm over here.
Oh, I had to.
They're like a little bit behind or something. Yeah. We're back. Hopefully you can hear me. Oh, look it, you're sending me hearts. Thank you for the hearts. The most important rule of... Oh, yes. There we go. See, that'll look so much better when it's gold. Alright. So clearly, Dark Urge, it's a must, so you can just avoid things in the later end. But hopefully we just cheat our way through with Gale and, you know, have him do a little explodies. Act 2. Well, we'll see how it goes. If it's going well, maybe we'll push all the way through.
Gunner, go lay down. Go.
Fair. You could be a healer, but they make you the domain of trickery. Let's get moving.
He has my nectarine seed.
Gunner. Well. Just the weird background conversations people hear on the stream. Good. We leveled up. Yep. Need the action surge. Command. We'll keep all that for now. Alright, most important thing is to loot everything. Just food. You need all the supplies you can get. Alright. This guy's got a letter. Love Anna. Don't be late. We'll take it. Maybe we'll find Anna somewhere. I've never taken the letter before. Just never of interest. I'm all gameplay and no lore. Go. find something. Oh. Oh, let's talk about politics. I'm kidding. We don't need to talk about that. I think I was not prepared, but I should find something to talk about. I think the most important thing to figure out is min-max it. You know? Alright. Oh, goodness.
You want an Am I the Asshole?
Sure, you're gonna read it.
Sure.
They can hear me. You could be part of it. Boom. Okay, he's done. Damn, these guys. My honor mode playthrough is gonna be over way too soon.
Alright, you ready?
I'm ready!
Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend I'd be scared of him if I met him alone at night? Trigger warning. My boyfriend and I were just discussing our word statistics because in our country, the essay rate, especially group essay, is going up at an alarming rate, and I'm increasingly worried it's going to happen to me or a family member. I said I'm always scared when a man walks behind me in the dark and or lonely places, and asked me if I would be scared of him if I didn't know him. I said yes. He said I shouldn't judge all men based on the actions of a few, and that it's really unfair to talk like that. I told him that it's not all men, but always men, and now he won't talk to me and I feel terrible. Am I the asshole?
Is she the asshole for feeling...
being scared of walking like at night and kind of being scared of all men?
No, I would say definitely not. But like, let's take into account like that recent sort of conversation people were having. Like, would you want to be alone in the woods with another man, or with a random guy, or a bear?
A bear.
Right. Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's because that just like the perceived of it, it's completely understandable to be like, yeah, you know what?
Because it's like 97% of what, like, I don't know if that's the actual, I'm pretty sure that's the actual statistic.
Let's not spend fake news.
I know, but I think it's like 97% of women have been sexually assaulted or harassed.
At least one time or another.
At least one time, yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, you know
Take that.
what a bear is going to do. You never really know what a man is going to do.
That's true. The bear is
predictable.
Yeah, he's probably going to run away from you.
I mean, if it's a black bear, he might run away. If it's a brown bear, you're probably going to be smacked.
It depends if they're hungry, you know, if it's just you and that brown bear, though.
Yeah.
Let's hide the ugly helmet. Yeah, that one's the easy one. That's not even like...
I mean, it is easy, but I do have to say there are good men out there, so I say don't judge everybody. But at the same time, people have to protect themselves. Because you don't know what another human being is going to do. I'm not villainizing all men. I'm just saying that people do need to protect themselves. So yeah, I don't think she's an asshole.
No, but that was also like an easy one. I think that really it's like she is, like, was there really a controversy there that you needed that, or did you just post on there for the validation to feel better about your choice? Or what you do, you know?
I mean, maybe a little bit of validation, but also wanting feedback between, like, hey, is this something that I need to apologize for? Like, how would other people feel in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
You want another one?
Yeah.
Alright.
Hold on, I'm just picking up a star in here. We're no story, all lore, because I keep skipping everything.
It's Vampire Daddy.
It is Vampire Daddy.
Alright, you ready?
Yep.
Am I the asshole for wanting 24 hours to myself? I'm an almost 40-year-old wife and mom that has been taking care of people for over 20 years. Not just my kids and husband either. I've been a caregiver to multiple grandparents and family friends as well. And I was a designated babysitter for all my cousins when I was a teenager. I'm beyond burnt out and need a day where the only person I have to take care of is myself. Ideally, I'd like to book a 24-hour hotel stay with a king-size bed, a jacuzzi tub, and delicious room service. I want to sleep as much as I want, eat whatever I want, soak in the tub until I'm pruny, and watch whatever I want on TV. I don't feel like that's too much to ask, but my family is making me feel guilty about it. Am I the asshole for wanting 24 hours to myself? Absolutely not. You are not the asshole for wanting to prioritize yourself.
Yeah, I totally I feel that way sometimes too.
Yeah, got it. So the top comment is, not the asshole. Are you kidding? 24 hours is nothing. It sounds like you need a lot more than that. Your mental health matters. Beyond 24 hours, I'd look at redefining how you operate in the world. When we became empty nesters, I stopped cooking, meal planning, etc. I told my husband and kids I was done. I gave other things I want to do with my time, and they're all able-bodied, capable adults. They took it well, never complained once. And now they take ownership over deciding what to eat and how to make that happen when they visit or when we get home from work, etc. I'm involved, they ask my opinion, but no longer responsible for it solo. I cook special meals for everyone occasionally, and I'm in the best shape of my life now because I have the bandwidth to put my own needs as higher priority. Should have done it all along. Put your own oxygen mask on first. I kind of like that last little thing. Put your own mask on first.
Yeah. Well, that's what you're supposed to do if the airplane's going down.
Yeah, yeah.
Scale.
Let's say these are mild compared to some of the ones I've seen.
Yeah, these are not even. These aren't even spicy. Like, it's not.
Ooh, here's an am I wrong?
Am I wrong?
Am I wrong?
Yes.
My wife still thinks about her first husband.
What?
My wife, 34 female, and I, 34 male, have been married 4 years. It is my first marriage and her second. Her first husband, a firefighter, was killed tragically in the line of duty. I did not know him, but he seems like he was an amazing person. She's been in therapy and recovered as well as you could expect. And I'm very sensitive and understanding of her ups and downs related to the loss of her husband. I know what I signed up for, and I am totally at peace with it. His memory lives on, and my wife, understandably, will always feel that loss. Recently, she confessed to me that she still thinks of him from time to time. I said that, of course, I understand that. And she clarified, though, that she still thinks of him sexually at times. It's a soothing and reassuring feeling to her. She confided that she thinks of him sexually when she is having alone time, and that he has even popped into her head while she and I have sex. I totally understand that is natural based on the trauma, and honestly, it doesn't bother me. I don't feel any competition with him, obviously, and if those thoughts help her in her recovery, I'm supportive of that. I'm wondering, though, am I enabling her in a way that isn't healthy? Is there a different role I should be playing? I would love any advice. I mean, obviously, she wasn't ready to let it go.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a given,
Yeah,
especially...
I thought he said, like, am I wrong?
Yeah, it's like, I don't think it's in the Reddit of am I wrong.
Yeah,
I don't think he's wrong. I don't think he's
you
in the
did,
wrong
What
place.
did you even do that seems wrong?
Hmm?
I was like, what did he even do that seems wrong?
Nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So the top comment is, this is definitely something she should discuss with her therapist. Nobody here is going to be able to give you a satisfactory answer. She can even have her therapist give her some tips on how to discuss it with you further, or even be present when you talk it through. Props to you for being understanding, though. There have been posts in the past where OP was angry at their spouse, still thinking about their late partners. I mean, there is nothing that guy did wrong.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything wrong with that. You know, he's just...
I mean, he's doing the best he can.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a low blow, though. He definitely doesn't feel happy about it.
I mean, it's understandable, though. Yeah, she moved on and she found someone else that she really cares about, but that doesn't negate the feelings that she had about the husband that she may feel she lost too soon.
Mm-hmm.
And in all honesty, she did lose him too soon.
Yeah.
So I think that person's right in saying, or the commenter's right in saying that that's definitely like a therapist question.
Yeah, but so the thing is, right, hiding successful. Nope. So the thing is, one of the things you said is like, so the last husband that died was a firefighter, right?
Yes.
Like, that's a hard one to beat.
It is. It is very hard.
Like, what does that guy do? Like, imagine, like,
because at the end of the day, like that,
your wife tells you that, and her last husband was a firefighter, and you're just like working in IT.
Because at the end of the day, you're like, it's a hero thing.
Yeah, it's nothing against people who work in IT.
Yeah, it's not at all. You're doing good work
You're
and all
doing
that.
something,
But
yeah.
like, at the end of the day, like, did he die from saving somebody's life? You know?
Hey, that'd be like
That's a hard thing to process. I mean, to be honest, it's just like, I mean, you're in the military, so I'm thinking, like, putting my own self in that situation, if you had, you know, were out doing something, how would I feel? Like, I would feel like I didn't have enough time with you, and no one could reach that level. Like, no one could, you know, compete against you.
Yeah, that's like one of those things. Like, oh yeah, you know, she's. The problem is, like, you know, he's cool with it, but it's got to feel a little like demasculating to think like, oh yeah, I'm all right with it, everything, but you know, my wife's, you know,
I mean,
getting off thinking about her ex-husband who is a firefighter, and I'm just whatever he's doing, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely feel bad.
Yeah, you think so?
Here's one. Am I the asshole for calling my friend a fucking incel for making a derogatory remark about my girlfriend? My girlfriend, 22 female, and I, 25 male, have been together for about 6 months now. We've known each other for a couple of years as we share many mutual friends. Before getting together, we had a very, some different lifestyles. I mostly have had long-term relationships, not really a hookup person, even though I've had a few of them. On the other hand, she is a big party girl, and everyone knows that. She used to hook up with a lot of people, sleeping around and having sugar daddies and stuff. She often had casual relationships and one-night stands before me. This doesn't really matter to me since I don't care about people's sexual history and believe that virginity or body count as concepts shouldn't even exist in the 21st century. I just need my partner to be loyal, no matter whether they've been with 10 people or 10K. She is incredibly attractive, and considering her looks and lifestyle, I never imagined us getting together, but for some reason she liked some of my hobbies and we ended up going out and clicked instantly. Surprisingly, she has been a great girlfriend and is very loyal and affectionate so far, even showing me off as her boyfriend to multiple people. This weekend, we were at a party where many of our friends were also there. At some point, I met a group of friends, more like acquaintances, who also kind of know her, and one guy asked me, "So how's your ride on the town bike going?" Oh.
Uh-oh.
Ouch. I was confused, but the others started laughing. Someone explained that he was calling my girlfriend the town bike since everyone in town has taken her for a ride. I called him some expletive, but he remarked that it's not like it's false, and mostly everyone in the town has slept with her or has her nudes on their phone. She sent nudes to many ex-partners. I was really offended at this, so I called him a fucking incel and took my girlfriend and left. Later, I told her why. She was quite hurt and heartbroken to hear this. I received messages from many people saying that I overreacted and shouldn't have acted that way. Am I the asshole for doing what I did?
Listen, man, if you're going to go out with a town bike, you got to be able to defend it sometimes. No, you're not the asshole. Oh, Lord.
I mean, I don't like how you said that, but I understand why you did.
What do you mean?
Like, you kind of played into the same thing. Like the guy's like, oh, you know, she's a town back. Everyone's ridden her. But at the end of the day, like that's still probably not the best thing to say to someone that you see as like a friend. It's kind of mean.
Yeah, that's
kind
true.
of messed up to say that about
like your
somebody.
friends shouldn't be talking trash about your lady, but like they should respect you enough to just not talk trash about her.
I mean, my question is, why are they saying something like that in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying it because you're jealous, or you're trying to make a joke? Like, what's the play here?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he did stick up for his girlfriend, and said like, that's messed up. Don't talk about her that way. Or at least that's my assumption of what he said.
Mm-hmm. It definitely seems that way.
So one of the top comments is quoting. One guy asked me, so how's your ride on the town bike going? The comment back was, wow, rude. I called him a fucking incel and took my girlfriend and left. They comment said, good for you. And then I have received messages from many people saying that I overreacted and shouldn't have acted that way. And they were like, really? You need better friends and acquaintances, not the asshole, but a number of people, or other people are.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not like an asshole for it.
No, not at all.
Shitty situation, I would say.
And at the end of the day, like, if someone came up to me and was like, how's your boyfriend? Like, any other baby mamas? Like, I would have been like, are you serious right now? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're saying things that shouldn't be said. Not that you have a whole bunch of baby mamas, you have one, but still, like...
Yeah, you said it like I'm like...
And that's why I had to, like, repeat myself. Like, you only have one. Like, you have one kid. It's fine.
Yeah, see, it's not that bad, people. It's not that bad. It's fine. But, you know...
You know what?
Sometimes you're just gonna face ridicule for decisions you make.
I mean, yeah.
And, like, you either have a problem with it or you own it, you know?
Yeah. So, here's one. Am I the asshole for telling my sister she is the reason she isn't pretty? The other day, I, 20 female, was having a conversation with my little sister, 17 female. The conversation went toward discussing pretty privilege. She went on a rant talking about how unfair it is, and that if she was prettier, she would be popular and have a boyfriend. Now, this upset me, because my little sister is super lucky. She's naturally blonde, has a beautiful face, is very thin, even though she eats a lot of junk food, and her boobs and butt are huge. However, she's a complete slob. She dresses in very baggy clothing, doesn't wear makeup, her hair is a mess, and she often smells bad because she doesn't shower much. She also has acne. I know that isn't her fault, but I used to have bad acne and found out how to get rid of it, but when I suggested this to her, she just ignored it. I told her the reason she isn't pretty is because she doesn't put any effort into her appearance. She got mad at me and stormed off. I know that nobody should be obligated to look nice, but it just upset me to hear her complain about her appearance, considering her circumstances. However, I'm starting to think that I was a bit insensitive. Am I the asshole?
Gosh, you know... Debatably, yeah.
I mean, I don't see her being an asshole. I think she could have, like, worded it better. She could have, like, came to the conversation and been like, hey, you know, you are very pretty, but you're not allowing people to see your natural beauty, because you are, you know, relatively attractive. You are conventionally attractive, you just don't take care of yourself the way you should.
Yeah.
So she could have been more sensitive, I think.
Probably.
So, what is your take on pretty privilege?
My take on pretty privilege?
Do you think it's a thing?
Hell yeah.
Why?
What do you mean why? It's like, it's undeniable.
Do you have any first-hand experiences?
Yes, I am extremely just big, luscious, attractive man.
Oh, so you're saying that you have pretty privilege.
Oh, yeah.
How so?
You know, I walk into bars and ladies just buy me drinks, and that doesn't happen. I'm just kidding. But I don't really have first-hand experience with it, but it's like obvious.
Yeah.
It's not wrong. Obviously, people who look more attractive can kind of get away with more or have different types of opportunities, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
It was like, oh no, am I gonna be mad? Like, oh my god, I'm so upset that you're good looking.
Yeah,
I mean,
think,
people,
like, the
rich
more,
people get treated better too. So
I was gonna say the pretty, and this is pretty bad, but like, if you are thin and you are conventionally attractive, you are seen as more valuable. And so, with that value, people want to give you things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, and I say this with the utmost respect to her, but my best friend, like, she is very pretty. She's very, very pretty. Has had, you know, a couple kids. Body's right back to where it was when she was like 16 years old. And wherever she goes, she gets free things. Pretty privilege is absolutely real. Absolutely real. And yes, I say that with a little twinge of jealousy.
I guess that's like very much just, you know, sometimes it's like in the eye of the beholder, I guess, on that end, then, you know.
Yeah. Am I the asshole for refusing to circumcise my son?
What? Yes.
I married an
Yes.
American woman, and we are extremely happy together. For the most part, we never fight, and if we do, we're both great at respecting each other and listening to each other's opinions. We're having a son, however, which we're both very excited about. But we massively disagree on circumcision. She views it as cleaner and more attractive for women as he grows up. I think that's absolute bullshit and ought to be sexualizing an unborn kid in that manner. It's not acceptable to give a baby girl cosmetic surgery on her genitals to make them more attractive for their future understood. Make them more attractive for their husband. So how on earth is that the norm with baby boys in the United States? I was circumcised as an adult before I met her because of an injury. I know how painful it is and how much it hurts your sensitivity. I compared it to a female genital mutilation, and she was unbelievably upset. While I admit the seriousness of the surgeries differ, the philosophy and justification behind them both are the same. Weird shit. Worst thing is, she implied when quite... Sorry, it's a little hard to read. Worst thing is, she implied when quite emotional that I wasn't respecting her argument, as my IQ measured slightly higher than hers according to this online IQ test we did for work.
What? Okay, you lost me.
To be
What?
clear,
What's-
I literally never brought that up or would care. When we discussed our scores, I laughed when she told me she found the website design too flashy and it stressed her. Otherwise, she'd have scored higher than me. I wasn't laughing at her, but I didn't find it flashy at all, especially during the test. Okay, and then they put a link to the IQ test.
Well, I have to take that.
What the hell? Her reaction just shocked me a little. I laughed, although I understand that came across wrong and apologized. I was an ass. But that shouldn't be a factor in this decision. She says it was the pregnancy hormones making her insecure. I think that may be a factor in why she seems so unreceptive to my feelings and arguments against doing this. My position is our son can choose to take the surgery himself when he's older if he wants to. It's his body. I'm not going to budge on this. I respect many aspects of the American culture, but this isn't something I'm comfortable doing to my son. Am I the asshole?
Yes. You're going to let your son get ridiculed for having a little wizard robe for a penis.
That's not the thing, though. How many people, unless he's in a locker room, are going to look? And to be honest, circumcisions are lowering. Like, people, it used to be the standard. It's not really this. I mean, it's still highly recommended by a lot of United States doctors, but it's not pushed as hard as it used to be.
Why was it pushed before?
I think they made an argument about cleanliness.
Yeah.
So, top commenter says, I don't know where you're living right now, but in countries like Australia, a hospital won't perform a circumcision for non-medical reasons. And some of the replies are that, yes, that's where I am, and we consider it an abusive act unless it's medically necessary. Millions of women here think it's natural and normal and desirable.
They think the circumcised penis is desirable?
It's normal. I mean...
It's normal for it to be circumcised.
It's normal... No, in Australia, it's normal for it not to be.
Oh, okay. Well, move to Australia then.
Well, my thing is, like, why... So there is no medical reason that a circumcision should happen.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I know, is that the United States, it's pushed because of the roots in religious reasons.
Oh.
As far as I know, there's a book in the Bible that says God told this man, I believe it was Abraham, I don't remember for sure, but to circumcise all of his men, because that was a sign that they were godly men.
Yeah.
And so that was what I remember it being. And then, like, it moved on to, it, like, prevented self-pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And then it moved from that to it's clean and it causes less infections.
Is that true?
I don't think it's true.
Are people that are uncircumcised getting, like, little UTIs in their dick holes?
That's a really weird way to say that.
But it is the correct way to say it.
Do men who are uncircumcised get more infections? I know it messes with the sensitivity.
Does it make it more or less sensitive?
So if you're uncut, you're more sensitive.
Okay.
Because you have more nerve endings.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what Healthline says. Does it affect your approach to hygiene? If you are uncut, an uncut penis requires some extra attention to hygiene. If you don't regularly clean under the foreskin, bacteria, dead skin cells, and oil can cause what's called smegma to build up. Smegma can cause your penis to smell and even lead to the glands or the head of your penis and foreskin to be inflamed. This can make pulling back your foreskin difficult or impossible. If this happens, it's known as phimosis. Phimosis and balanitis can both require medical attention if left untreated. Please note, these instructions are for adults only. Before puberty, it may be difficult to fully retract, though that's weird. It should never be forcibly retracted, even for cleaning. A cut penis doesn't require additional hygiene. Just make sure you wash it regularly if you bathe, or when you bathe. However, your penile skin may be more likely to get dry, chafed, or irritated without the foreskin. You can help prevent this by wearing loose-fitting underwear and avoid tight pants. A 2016 study found that for an uncut penis, the foreskin was the part of the penis most sensitive to stimulation by touch. However, the study clarifies that this doesn't mean that your experience of pleasure during sex is any different whether you're cut or uncut. That's news to me. Cool.
Hmm.
A 2011 study claims that men with cut penises self-reported more orgasm difficulties. But a 2012 response to the study calls this claim into question. The authors point out that the 2011 study showed no direct link between circumcision and sexual satisfaction. They also highlighted several factors that could have skewed the study's results. Does it affect lubrication? Okay. No, it does not. Oh, that's a lie. Uncut, the foreskin provides natural lubrication to the penis. However, there is no conclusive evidence that being cut will require extra lubrication for the same amount of sexual satisfaction. Being cut may mean that you occasionally extra lube when lubrication is necessary. Weird. Cool. It does not affect your fertility.
It does not.
Does it affect your risk of infection? Uncut. Ample evidence shows that being uncut increases your risk of developing a UTI, mostly in the first year of life. Smegma buildup can also increase infection risks that lead to phimosis, and the other thing, practicing good hygiene can help prevent these. Cut men may have a reduced risk of contracting some STIs, like genital herpes. They're also 50 to 60% less likely to contract HIV from female partners. There isn't comparable evidence to support or deny this decreased risk in men who have sex with men. Uncut men are generally at higher risk of developing penile cancer.
Oh, damn.
So at the end of the day, I think like it's the same thing you should do for all things. Just know your risks, know the pros and cons, and then come to a conclusion together. I don't think he's wrong. I just think both parties need to be completely informed and make a joint decision.
Yeah. There's just... I guess they make their decisions and go from there, you know.
What do you mean?
Of, like, do they want to do it or not? Is he going to make a big deal out of it, you know?
I mean, it sounds like he's making a big deal out of it. Like he said, he was going to die on that hill that is, you know, his son's not going to be circumcised. Yeah. I mean, I think she did make a shitty argument that she needs him to be circumcised for future partners. That is a little bit uncomfortable.
So she wants him circumcised.
The mom wants the son circumcised. The dad does not.
Listen, I guess the mom knows what future partners might be into.
That's weird, though. That's a weird argument.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be what's said in the argument of whether or not you should circumcise your son. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need to do anything with future partners. I think it needs to have everything to do with medically necessary, you know, procedures.
Okay.
So I think they both just need to sit down and have a good conversation.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Alright, so 87 people are reading this Am I the Asshole right now? While I, 30, male, was away on business, my fiancé, 32, female, decided to go out without telling me. We spoke in the afternoon. I was on my way to the airport ahead of an 8-hour flight, which was arriving at 5 a.m. Her friend had just come from out of state, and she was planning on taking her out to dinner. Once I landed, I didn't want to wake her, as she normally gets up around 7. I got home, and she wasn't there. Her car was parked outside, but she wasn't in bed. For a moment, I panicked and thought she had gone to surprise me at the airport and I somehow missed her. But her car was outside. I called her and her phone rang to voicemail. I called 10 more times while I shower and change. At first, I wasn't too worried, thinking maybe she went for a run, but the scenarios running through my head were getting darker. We have our phones on our iCloud account in case we lose them, so I brought it up to find her location. Her iPhone was at the hospital, and my heart sank. I started heading to the hospital. All of our family live out of state, so there's no one to call. The hospital is 10 minutes away. I speed, run red lights, park right in front of the emergency department door, and go in like a maniac demanding the triage staff tell me where my wife is. They take me to her room. She's asleep in bed, but I immediately see she's hurt. Her lip is swollen and she looks like she's been beaten up. Bruises on her face, splint thing on her nose. My panic and worry morph into rage, and I demand to know what happened and who did this to her. I was informed she arrived in an ambulance at 2 a.m., having drunkenly stumbled and face-planted it onto the curb while leaving a bar.
Oh my god.
She had a broken nose, chipped tooth, and other minor abrasions and scratches, but she was going to be fine. This made absolutely no sense. I seriously feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. I don't drink, never have, and she hasn't touched alcohol since college, basically. I don't even know what's happening at this point. She tried to offer up some kind of explanation about how her friend pressured her to have wine while they were at dinner, and then they somehow ended at a bar. She apparently has no recollection and teleported there. I've been giving her the silent treatment. Seriously?
Dude, why?
I've been giving her the silent treatment, and it's 8 p.m. She's been crying and wanting some sort of consolement or reassurance, but I genuinely think I'm done. This whole thing just came out of left field, and I'm not handling it well. We've been living together since we got engaged, and it would be a pretty clean split. Her parents own the house, so I can basically just take my stuff and go, I guess. I really don't know what to do. We've been together for a year and a half, and I feel like we could get past this. But it's like the whole ordeal and the emotional roller coaster have sapped away the love I felt for her. Anyway, sorry for the novel. But would I be the asshole if I dumped her? Yes!
Dude, yeah. She went out with the girls and got drunk? Okay.
Like...
Did she cheat on you?
No.
He doesn't know, technically, but...
So, the commenter says, you're the asshole. This is kind of a big overreaction to someone going out to drink and getting hurt. Seems like you're just looking for an out to the relationship, and this is the most convenient way. OP said, she's definitely not cheating or sneaking around with some people to think. Like some people think. We also have great insurance, so the medical bills are no issue. It's definitely the first time anything like this has happened. She's super responsible and mature, which is one of the things that has made us so compatible. She's always so dignified and composed, which is one thing I love the most about her. Seeing her like this and learning how it happened just kind of shattered the image I have of her in my mind. She's a human being. She can go and get drunk if she wants to.
Bro, what's the big dude?
So you're sitting here being mad at your partner because she went out and had fun with her friends, got hurt, and rather than make sure that your partner is okay, you're thinking about leaving her? You are definitely the asshole here, dude.
This dude sounds like such a pussy.
So he replies, I get it, I'm the asshole. Enough people mentioned that she was roofied, so, oh, my god. Okay, so she wasn't, okay. Enough people mentioned that she was roofied, so we went and got a drug panel done that came back clean. She just had too much to drink. Just to clarify, since a lot of you said I'm controlling or whatever, I'm really not. If you have to say that, then whatever. She's free to go out with or without telling me. It's just she normally always tells me her plans and what they are exactly, which is why this was so abnormal. Also, I never said I had a problem with her drinking. She's a grown woman. She can do whatever she wants. It's just that she never drinks, which is why it was shocking. She has a concussion, which we are blaming for the trouble remembering. I don't think she was blackout drunk, and neither does she. I'm not trying to defend my initial reaction, but I have a very stressful I'm not gonna read your fucking reply, dude. You're dumb as shit.
That guy's such a bitch.
At the end of the
Excuse
day,
my language.
like she is a grown ass woman. If she wanted to go and hang out with her friend and drink, she has every right to do so. And the fact that she didn't tell you, one, you were on a flight. Two,
yeah, you were in the airport.
Two, if she literally didn't know where she was going, and her friend is just taking, you think she's like gonna have the time to pull out her little phone and be like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing." She didn't expect to be in the hospital.
Yeah.
She didn't expect anything to happen.
Plus, he could have got drunk on the flight. Like, what's the big deal?
I mean, well, he doesn't drink.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot he was kind of a coward.
Stop.
Just kidding.
Stop. No, but in all honesty, like, there's no reason to have that kind of reaction to your partner going out and having a casual drink.
Yeah, he was way
Yeah, I
too...
mean,
well,
she
that
did
was
get a
not a
little messed
casual
up.
drink. That was
But
not...
my thing is, you're over here worried about her, and then as soon as you know what happened, all the worry goes away and your feelings are shattered. That right there means if you have, like, a moment, you never truly cared about that person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's my reaction. You never truly cared about her if that was your first reaction of why she got into this mess.
How dare she get into this mess?
Oh, here's an update.
Did he break up with her for it?
She broke off the engagement. We had a long talk, and apparently I've been cold and unsupportive. And she feels betrayed by my attitude. She thinks my expectations are unrealistic and she's a human, not a robot. She said she needs someone who can let her fail, and I am not that person. We broke up after being engaged for 6 months. One night, when we were at her parents' place, her father gave it to me as a gift. Oh, same guy. Would I be the asshole if I don't return the expensive watch my ex-fiance's father gave me? Yeah, give it back, dude.
Nah, screw it. Keep it.
We broke up after being engaged for 6 months. The same guy.
Oh.
One night, when we were at her parents' place, her father gave me a watch as a gift. It was shortly after we got engaged, and it wasn't my birthday or anything like that. There was no occasion. He just gave it to me and said, "I want you to have this." He took it off his wrist. I'm unlikely to ever see him again, as he lives in California. I live in New York. He hasn't asked for it back, and nor has my ex. I doubt she has any clue what it's worth, but I've had it appraised, and it's worth over $70K. Would I be the asshole if I kept the watch? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would be the asshole if you kept that watch, because that dad gave it to you, like, expecting you to treat his daughter right, and you didn't. Alright. I want to say I believe I am far from being racist.
Oh, gosh.
My biggest opinion on race is that it does not matter. I could honestly care less what race someone is. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. If you're nice, you're nice. I barely ever think about another person's race in any social situations because it's irrelevant in almost every conversation imaginable. That's a lie. I work at a restaurant where you make the food in front of customers. There's no limit to toppings, so generally customers ask for more. I have no problem with this, and I always do without hesitation. I try to follow company guidelines, though. This guy works at Chipotle.
Nice.
I try to follow company guidelines, though. I always try to be polite and nice with customers. I have had one complaint about me over 2 years. I've noticed a pattern where one race of people are generally more rude to others. Sometimes when I say, "Hi, how are you?" they ignore me completely. Sometimes they complain or get upset easily. Most customers ask for more toppings then move on. Sometimes these people will sit there and ask, then ask, then ask, then ask. Or they roll their eyes and act visibly annoyed when I don't listen. I have asked 2 other coworkers about this, and they both agreed they noticed the same thing. I do not think differently about this race of people outside of work. I feel almost ashamed of myself that I feel more annoyed when they come in, and I feel like a racist in all honesty. I always treat them with respect no matter what. I never treat them differently than any other customer either. I always try to be nice to every customer no matter what. However, I do sometimes treat asshole customers differently regardless of race. I don't treat them differently but because they're assholes like you. Treating them differently as in strictly following company portion guidelines which barely adds toppings. Not being rude or something. Maybe it's a cultural difference I need to understand. It's just a pattern I've noticed after working over 2 years. It's just some little thought in the back of my mind and I feel kind of ashamed of it.
Well, what race is he talking about?
He doesn't say, but...
Okay, if you had to guess.
I mean, my first reaction is he was talking about white people.
Really?
I actually really do think that, yeah.
No, I disagree, but yes.
I mean, my thing is, maybe it's because, like, when I worked in retail, when I worked in the service industry, oh god, when I worked in the service industry, I had certain people of a certain race that were always so insanely sweet, always tipped well, always made sure everything was good. Like, they were good people. And then I had other people that were always rude. Always, always, always rude. And the people that were always rude were white. And so, I mean, to set the scene here, I used to work at a restaurant called Folks, and the worst crowd was always on a Sunday. Mind you, like, we live in a southern state, so the Sunday crowd, when they came in, there were like 15 to 25 people at one table, and they never left tips. They always asked for so much. Like, anything that they could get for free, they would. So, I mean, you're sitting here thinking $15. What's 15 times 25?
15 times 25?
Yeah, what's 15 times 25?
25 times 4 is 100. 4, 8, 12, 300. 375.
So, imagine having a ticket that's $375. How much do you think a tip on that should be?
Like $5 a person.
Well, if you do the normal, say 10%, that's what, $37.50?
30, yeah, $35.
About, well, if you do actual 10%, it's $37.50.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a low end. For a 25 top, you should at least have 25 or like 10% gratuity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just how I was raised. I'm not going to do 10%. I'm going to do 15 to 20%, especially with that many people. So imagine me, the first time I had a 25 top, getting this check, setting it down, person took care of it. I was like cleaning, busting the table, doing all these things, made sure they had every single thing they needed. Everything. And I could only take this one table. They were there for 2 hours. And just so you know, I could have anywhere between like 4 and 8 tables in an hour. I could only take this one because it was 25.
Yeah.
They left me $3. They left me a $3 tip on a like over $350 tab.
Do you guys not like kind of
no
add your own amount?
No, this was back in like 2013.
Yeah.
So they didn't do that. They were like, no, like we're not going to add gratuity to stuff like that. So I will never forget that and how I was treated.
Yeah.
But do you want to know who my best customers were?
Sure.
Take a wild guess.
Hispanic people?
Yes. Yes. Every single time I got tipped 15 to 20%. If not more.
You heard it here
I
first,
had
folks.
Legitimately, a guy came in to a to-go order, and by the way, you don't normally put tips on to-go orders.
I always put tips on to-go orders.
I do too, but not a lot of people did. This man had a $50 like to-go order, gave me $25 as a tip.
Oh wow.
I'm like 10 out of 10, the best customers that I ever had. Now, like African American, it went either way. If they were a Sunday crowd, most of the time they were like cordial, but they weren't nice. But if it was like a small family of like 2, 3, 4, 5, great.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, like I wouldn't put it past white people to be rude to someone serving them.
Yeah. I think it's just the way that what he said reads, right, with so much emphasis on like being racist.
He's saying that he feels like he's racist.
Yeah, no, I get that. He's saying he feels like he's racist. That's what makes me feel like it's not. I feel like he's a white person. And I don't think he's talking about white people.
So this is what this person says. Oh. Sorry. This is what this person says. Confirmation bias. It's similar with tipping. If 25 white assholes don't tip in one day, but you have 100 white customers, you think that the 25 are individually shitty. If you have 20 black customers in one day and 5 don't tip, you think black people don't tip. Our society raises people to think of the default groups. White people, men, straight people, cis people, what have you, as individuals, and everyone else as a representation of their group, even outside of any factor that can shape how a group might act on basis above standard deviation. This is what I think is the biggest factor in these situations. I suggest making a conscious effort to think of every person coming in as their own person. I think if you're being malicious, I don't think you're being malicious. I think you're a person based and raised in a society that instills certain bias that feed themselves. And another person commented back with this, which I super agree with. Everyone knows the worst tippers are the Sunday church people.
I'm too ignorant. I never worked in the service industry. Golly, Gail, Jesus. Just hit somebody. Oh no, me just hit someone. Oh goodness.
Me, 18 female, and my boyfriend, 18 male, discussed what would happen if I get pregnant. And I told him that
how old are they?
18.
Okay.
I told him I'm not ready for a child, and if I get pregnant, I'd want an abortion. He's against abortion and called me a bull.
What did he call her?
A fucking whore who should get her priorities straight. He wants a child and said he'll do anything to force me to keep it. I think about cutting back on sex, but I know he wouldn't like it, and despite the fact that he's never been physically violent,
God damn it,
I'm scared that he might escalate it to physical. I honestly don't know what to do. I tried to leave and he told me that he'd commit the ultimate act on his life. Am I the asshole for supporting it? You are not.
Bro, get out of that relationship, girl.
Top comment, forget abortion for a second and get to talking about how you safely leave.
Bro, that is nuts.
I mean, that's manipulation if I've ever seen it. Someone says if you leave them, they're gonna, unalive themselves.
That's terrible.
That's hard.
Y'all, 100% get out of that.
Alright, so the disclaimer on this one is throwaway account and fake names. I, 18 female, am with this girl, Jessica, 18 female. In the same... Oh, okay. Girl, I thought they were saying they were together. I was like, oh, this is not going to work. Okay. I, 18 female, am with this girl, Jessica, 18 female, in the same friend group in high school. Jessica is a devout Christian who goes to a Presbyterian church every Sunday for Mass. I have no problem with this, and it was nice to see that she's able to live a happier life because of her Christianity. Her religious expression was very normal and nuanced at first. She would do things like wearing a cross necklace, adding Bible verses in her socials, etc. The issue came when she would show up to our lunch table with a Bible and kept reminding us about how God is great, etc. The last straw came when she made a separate Instagram account dedicated to making posts about the Bible and telling people on how to live a holy life. She'd even tried to make her own Christian podcast at one point. At one lunchtime, she told us she was ranting about how offensive it was for people to wear things like cross jewelry when they weren't even Christian, and how egregious Jesus Christ Superstar, one of my favorite musicals, was. I told her that while her religious beliefs were fine, me and my friends were frankly getting sick and tired of her bringing up Jesus.
Jesus.
God and the Bible into every single conversation, as well as on her social medias. I also further reminded her that recontextualization of the Bible were perfectly fine, and that the musical was a medium to explore the humanity of Jesus because, frankly, he is human, just like us. Jessica got offended and looked at me coldly before responding, "Are you suggesting you're better than Jesus?" I got sick and tired of her at this point and said to her sarcastically, "Look, Jesus loves you, but he wants you to shut the fuck up."
Mm-hmm.
I then got heated in the moment and told her that her level of devoutness was extremely ridiculous, before telling her that she didn't need to make her Christianness as her entire personality. I also bluntly told her it seemed that she was subtly suggesting she was better than the rest of us just because she practiced her Christianity a lot. Jessica hasn't talked to me since then, and I'm wondering if I did overstep a bit. My friends agree with me, saying that Jessica's behavior was extremely weird and that she was a hypocrite.
Alright, friends, this is the squirrel scene.
Meanwhile, my inner self was feeling conflicted. I feel like the sarcasm, swearing was stooping to her level. So am I the asshole?
Ow. Yeah, that person is,
I don't think she's an asshole, but yet again, oh no! You're a terrible human. Or you're a terrible tiefling.
it came right at me, bro.
Shadowheart disapproved you. Are they gonna leave you again like they have before?
What do you mean?
If you keep making the bad decisions?
Well, it was only... you have no choice in that decision when you play as, the Dark Urge.
Oh.
You just auto-kick it.
So I don't think that she's an asshole, but I do think that she could have said things better.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of do like the whole, like, Jesus wants you to be quiet. But that's
Jesus wants you to be quiet?
not what she said. I just said it in a nicer way.
Oh. What does Jesus want?
To be honest, like, she's doing exactly what the Bible is telling her to do. Okay?
Harass people?
To be honest, for lack of better words, kind of. They say, like, spread the gospel. Like, tell people about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it also says to live your life in a way that people can see it. So you don't necessarily have to, like, go out and, like, do all these things. You just live your life a certain way that shows good things. But I do have to say that her judging people is the opposite of what Jesus would want her to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think OP and Jessica are both kind of, like, in the wrong here. But they're 18, so.
Mm-hmm.
What do you expect?
Yeah, that's just... That would be so annoying after a long time.
Oh, God. Am I overreacting? Caught my wife's stepdad sniffing her underwear on the baby monitor.
Oh, Lord. Okay, well, how did you react?
Am I overreacting? We are currently living out of state, and my wife flew home to surprise her mom. She took our 10-month-old son with her. She called me and told me to look at the baby monitor that automatically turns on when it senses movement. I looked at the video she was talking about, and you can see her stepdad, who her mom married when my wife was 10, in her room. My wife is staying with her grandparents, her mom's parents. Pick up a pair of pants with the underwear in them. She takes them both at the same time, so the underwear stays inside. Hold them up to his nose and take 3 big sniffs that you can actually hear on the monitor, and then set them back down. This was an hour ago. I'm close to buying a plane ticket, flying there, and beating the crap out of him. What should I do? She's telling her mom right now.
God damn.
Edit. My wife has convinced me to not do anything because of the legal troubles that could bring. Unfortunately, they are on the other side of the country, and we don't have the money to buy a plane ticket at the moment for me to be there. My mother-in-law decided what she needs to do, but is leaning towards leaving him. We have made it clear that we will love her no matter what, but we will not be near her husband ever again, especially with our child. I think that will convince her to leave him. Unfortunately, again, they have recently adopted a 10-year-old girl
Oh, God.
who was a family friend of theirs. That adds another difficulty to this situation. My wife and mother-in-law have not confronted her stepfather, but are planning to do so tonight. I will update on how that goes. We are trying to get another flight for my wife and son to come home, as they were planning to stay there for another 2 weeks, but due to our financial situation, I'm not sure that will happen. She doesn't feel like she's in danger. I just wish I could be there just in case. That's not overreacting, dude. That's creepy.
Bro, your wife's stepdad is a weirdo.
I would feel so violated.
Who is allowing this man around the children?
I mean, to be honest with you, maybe they didn't know that he was like that, but, like, he was just caught because of the baby monitor.
Got him.
That's so scary. That's disgusting, man.
It's definitely a little off, huh?
I mean, that makes me nauseous. The poster after this one: best hot wings in Atlanta.
No. Gotta love those Atlanta hot wings, you know?
Oh my god. My 42 male sister-in-law, 33, recently started selling burgers on Saturdays. She works a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday office job with a good salary, but she recently discovered she is pregnant with her ex's baby. He's no longer in the picture, so she's selling burgers for extra income. Now every Saturday, my wife 40 buys burgers for our family, 3 kids, 12, 10, and 8. My issue is that my sister-in-law sells every burger for $9, so 5 burgers is $45. The burgers are good, don't get me wrong, but she is using my mother-in-law's recipe that my wife also knows, so don't see why we should spend $45 weekly on burgers when my wife can make identical ones at home and we could spend less money on ingredients. To be clear, technically we can afford sister-in-law's burgers comfortably. I just don't think we should when there are cheaper options. I tried to talk about it with my wife, and she said she mostly buys because she wants to support her sister. I told her it's not our job to support her sister. Besides, I said the burgers are good, and every weekend they are sold out in a couple of hours, so I don't think losing 5 burgers would put a dent in her business. Yesterday I told my wife again we shouldn't buy them, and she asked me why I cared if she was buying them with her money and not our money. We each have an account and then one joint account. I told her it's not about that. I just don't think it's sensible to spend $45 every weekend on food when she already knows the recipe. She said she'll be spending $36 then, because she won't be buying mine anymore if it bothered me so much. That's exactly what she did. She bought burgers for our kids and her, and didn't buy me one, which is okay. Anyways, I got a Big Mac for cheaper, so I thought we were okay. And then she has been acting as if she's been mad at me since yesterday. I fail to see why she's mad. Am I the asshole?
No.
Thoughts?
I think that whole situation is just hilarious.
1, he's not really the asshole if it was from their joint account, because he's like, hey, let's save money, but then he says we can comfortably afford, like, you can afford it. But then he said he's not buying it. It's not coming from the joint account. It's coming from his wife's account. So his wife is buying them to support her sister. He is kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
That's all I get is yeah.
I was reading. I think that. Yeah, he's an asshole. I mean, he doesn't want to support it. I don't know. It's hard to say because I understand. Maybe he's just like, bro, we gotta save some money. I don't want to do that. If his wife wants to go for it, I think what he should say is, hey, if you want to spend your money on those burgers,
She already was.
yeah, then
She already was.
he should have just kept his mouth shut. He should have just clarified.
I mean, to be quite honest, like, I kind of like what she did. Like, oh, if you don't want to spend the money, then you're not going to get one. Like, that's a really big F you if I've ever seen one, and I like that she did that.
Mm-hmm. That does track like something that you would enjoy.
But to be honest, she's sitting here trying to help her sister. Her sister is pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to make money. Like, she's doing everything that, like, her sister is doing everything she can for herself. She works all week, and then she makes a crap ton of burgers on Saturday. What is the issue with helping out? What is the issue with buying that?
If you can, and he said they could easily afford it,
They
right?
can easily afford it. So not only do you have to make a meal, you're helping your family, and everything's already prepared, and you're already saying that they're good. So why are you complaining? It's not even your money being spent. You're just being a dick.
Yeah.
So this person said, call me a dick, but even if it's a joint account, the fact that OP said they can comfortably afford them and that they have no pre-existing beef with the sister-in-law, then just buy them. It's a sweet thing to do. Wife doesn't need to cook or clean up, and you can help sister-in-law without seeming like a charity.
Maybe he doesn't like his sister-in-law.
That's actually what someone else said. Maybe he just doesn't like her.
Yeah, he just really has something against his sister-in-law. Like, is it the right thing? No, probably not right.
Do you want to hear a scary story?
Tell me a scary story. Do I want Shadowheart to be a life domain cleric or a Tempest domain cleric? War is nice too.
Alright, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, never mind. Not that one.
Why not that one?
Not that one.
You found one?
Yep.
Okay.
My apartment was exactly what you'd expect from a cop who spent more time at the precinct than at home. The wallpaper peeled at the corners like old scabs. The carpet was a mottled gray that might have been blue in another decade, and the persistent smell of mildew suggested that the plumbing was older than the landlord cared to admit. It wasn't much, but it was my refuge from the chaos of New York City, my own run-down castle. One lethargic Sunday afternoon, as the city exhaled the heat from the relentless August sun, I stood on the fringes of my small bathroom, scrutinizing my reflection in the faded mirror. I needed to shave my beard, a rough map of the past stressful week. As I nudged the mirror to get a better angle, it shifted slightly, revealing a corner of yellow paper stuck behind it. Curious, I pried the mirror further open. It creaked in protest, the sharp sound in the quiet apartment. Behind it, I found an envelope, the paper thin and brittle to the touch. Written on the front in a hurried scrawl was rules of passage. My brow furrowed. My first thought was, this is a prank, some twisted joke played by a fellow officer or a friend. But as I sliced the envelope open and unfolded the letter inside, the list of rules I found was anything but ordinary. Do not make eye contact. Do not speak to them. Never carry more than can fit in your pockets. Do not take what is not dropped. Ignore all pleas for help. Do not eat or drink anything. Avoid the man in the conductor's uniform. Never go beyond the last platform. Never board the train. And if you wish to leave, you must jump in front of the train. I read through the list twice, then a third time. My initial reaction was disbelief mixed with an uneasy chuckle. It had to be a joke. A bizarre, detailed, and somewhat macabre joke. But a joke nonetheless. I imagined my buddy Rick's laughter when I'd confessed to being spooked, the precinct's break room echoing with the hoots and hollers. Shaking my head, I placed the letter on the bathroom counter, my detective's mind idly noting the lack of dust around the mirror. It was odd, given the general neglect of my cleaning habits. The rules themselves were nonsensical, yet oddly specific. Avoid the man in the conductor's uniform. Never board the train. It read like a bad movie script. The practical part of me wanted to crumple the paper up and forget it ever existed. Yet something nagged at me, a whisper of curiosity, or perhaps the echo of instinct honed by years of the force telling me not to dismiss outright. With a resigned sigh, I tucked the letter back into my jacket pocket, figuring it might make for an amusing story to share with Rick the next day. As I reset the mirror, my reflection staring back at me seemed to carry a hint of caution, as if the tired eyes looking back at me also whispered, "Be careful." I left the bathroom, the letter's words echoing in my mind. It was just a prank, I reassured myself. But as the city outside buzzed and the shadow in the apartment deepened with the setting sun, the list of rules felt more like a warning than a joke. And deep down, as the evening crept over New York, I couldn't shake the feeling that my life had just taken a turn. A week had passed since I discovered the bizarre list of rules behind my bathroom mirror. Each day the letter's presence gnawed at me, an itch in the back of my mind that wouldn't subside. The rules haunted my thoughts, whispering through my daily routines, disturbing my sleep. Finally, unable to quell my growing obsession, I decided to investigate. It was late, the kind of late that blanketed the city in a deep, uneasy quiet. I stood before my bathroom mirror, a letter in hand, rereading each rule as if trying to decode a secret message hidden in plain sight. With a deep inhale, I gripped the edges of the mirror and pulled. The mirror gave way with a groan, revealing not just a wall behind, but an opening. A dark, elongated tunnel that seemed to stretch into an impossible nothingness. Curiosity, sharp and demanding, overtook my hesitation. Flashlight in hand, I stepped into the tunnel. The air was cool and damp, the walls rough and encrusted with what looked like centuries of grime. I walked for what felt like miles, the beam of my flashlight a small, brave spot of light against the overwhelming dark. Suddenly, the tunnel ended, and I stepped out onto a platform. I blinked in astonishment. Before me lay a subway station, seemingly ripped from the 1940s. It was perfectly preserved, as if it were still in use. Advertisements for victory bonds adorned the walls, and the scent of old, dry wood mixed with a faint trace of tobacco smoke hung in the air. My footsteps echoed on the stone platform as I moved cautiously forward. The station was eerily quiet, No announcements, no clattering of trains. Then I saw them. People, or rather figures that resembled people, each dressed in period attire. Their faces blurred and indistinct, going about their business as if I wasn't there. I remember the first rule: do not make eye contact. Lowering my gaze, I observed them from the corners of my eyes. They didn't speak or interact with me. They seemed completely unaware of my presence. Phantoms of a bygone era caught in a loop of routine. Suddenly, a chill made me shiver, and I pulled my jacket tighter around me. As I ventured deeper into the station, I recalled the second rule: don't speak to them. I bit my tongue as a spectral old man nearly bumped into me, muttering apologies to no one as he shuffled past, newspaper under arm. My attention then shifted as a figure distinct from the rest paced the platform. It was a man in a conductor's uniform, his face harsh and creased with what looked like perpetual anger. The uniform was impeccable, the buttons polished to a shine and his cap pulled low over his brow. As I watched, the conductor stopped and surveyed the platform with a scowl, his eyes seeming to look right through the spectral passengers. I kept my distance, observing the conductor's routine, noting his paths and stops. The longer I stayed, the more the place felt suffocating, a strange pressure building in my ears. Remembering the final rules, I knew it was time to leave. I couldn't risk being trapped here. I turned towards the tunnel, then hesitated. On the ground near where I'd appeared was a handful of coins, old and tarnished. Do not take what is dropped. The rule echoed in my mind. These were dropped, so it must be okay, right? Do not take what is not dropped. I picked them up, rationalizing that it's worth the risk for proof that I wasn't hallucinating. With one last wary glance at the stern-faced conductor, I turned back to the tunnel and realized it was sealed. I placed my hand on the wall and felt nothing but cold, unyielding stone. I remembered what I had to do and scanned the scene until I saw a track with a train only beginning to take off. It accelerated at an impossible rate, but I was able to make it to the edge of the platform just in time. I jumped in front of the phantom machine that made no sound as it raced toward me. Closing my eyes at the last moment, I braced for impact, only to find myself tumbling onto the cold, hard tiles of my bathroom floor. Gasping for air, clutching the coins in my fist, I lay there for a moment, the reality of my apartment crashing back around me. I had escaped the station, but the station hadn't quite left me. I stood shaky and disoriented. The weight of the coins in my hand was a solid, undeniable confirmation of the night's reality. The portal was real. The rules were real. And I had a fistful of evidence. The first trip through the mirror tunnel left me both exhilarated and terrified. The coins I pocketed, a handful of pre-World War 2 nickel and dimes, were tangible proof of my unbelievable journey. As morning light seeped through the grimy windows of my apartment, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the events of the night replaying in my mind like a looped film reel. It's a long story.
Yeah.
Determined to understand the value of my find, I decided to visit a local antique shop known for its collection of coins and historical memorabilia. The small belt above the door jingled as I entered. The musty smell of old books and rust greeted me. The shopkeeper, a stooped old man with thick glasses perched on his nose, looked up from his newspaper as I approached the counter. "Can I help you?" the shopkeeper asked, eyeing my nervous demeanor. "I found these in my grandfather's attic," I lied smoothly, placing the coins on the counter. Wondered if they might be worth anything. The shopkeeper picked up the coin, his eyes narrowing as he examined it. Pre-war coins. Quite a nice find indeed. He tested each coin with a small magnifying glass and looked up at me, curiosity sparking in his eyes. "Not something you see every day. Where did you say you found them?" "My grandfather's attic. He was a bit of a collector," I repeated, maintaining my facade of casual disinterest. After a few minutes of haggling, I walked out of the shop with a substantial amount of cash, much more than I anticipated. The weight of the money in my pocket felt like a burning promise of potential. However, before I made it out the door, the shopkeeper said something that stuck in the back of my mind. "A word of caution," the shopkeeper said, his voice low and urgent. The treasures of the past often come with a price. Be sure you're willing to pay it. Fueled by success, my visits to the station became more frequent. Each journey through the tunnel was a calculated risk, but the temptation of the easy wealth was too strong to resist. I followed the rules meticulously. Never make eye contact. Never speak to the passengers. Always avoiding the conductor. My collection grew. Old bills, more coins, even a few historical trinkets small enough to fit in my pockets. But with the increasing visits, my behavior at work began to change. I was distracted, my thoughts constantly wandering to my next trip to the mirror. My colleagues took notice, especially when I started showing up with new watches and unexplained cash. Rumors started, whispers of evidence tampering or worse. Rick Dalton, a fellow detective and supposed friend, confronted me one day in the locker room. Hey, Johnny, you hitting the casino these nights? You got a look of a man who's found a gold mine. Just some good luck on a few bets, I deflected, uncomfortable with the scrutiny. Rick raised an eyebrow, but didn't push further. The conversation, however, heightened my paranoia. I knew I needed to be more careful, but the call of the coins, the whisper of the wind through the station, it was irresistible. One afternoon, after pocketing a particularly rare find, a 1941 Liberty $50, I decided it was time to lay low for a while. I had enough stashed away to ease up, but as I turned to leave the station, I felt a chilling gaze on my back. Twisting around, I saw the conductor, standing far down the platform, staring directly at me. My heart skipped a beat. Had I been too greedy? I quickly averted my gaze and rushed to the platform with the train just starting to accelerate. Jumping in front of the approaching train, I braced for the now familiar jolt, only to awaken in my bed sweating and shaken. The room felt colder, the shadows deeper, and as I clutched the Liberty dollar, I realized I had crossed a line. The game was changing. Oh no.
Oh, this part?
Yeah.
The Dark Urge playthrough wants you to let her die.
Inside the room felt colder than usual.
Damn, that works. Sweet.
The room felt colder, the shadows deeper, and as I clutched the Liberty dollar, I realized I had crossed a line. The game was changing, and the rules might not protect me much longer. The precinct was bustling, the air thick with the usual blend of coffee, anxiety, and determination. I felt the weight of eyes on me as I navigated through the desks, my recent financial uptick not going unnoticed among my colleagues. Whispered followed me like shadows, each murmur a thread weaving a net of suspicion. Rick Dalton finally cornered me near the water cooler, his expression a mix of concern and curiosity. Johnny, can we talk? He asked, nodding towards the empty interrogation room. Inside the room felt colder than usual, the stark light highlighting the seriousness on Rick's face. It's not these sudden gains of yours, John. People are talking. They're saying you might be into something off the books. My stomach tightened. I'd known this conversation was coming, yet it did little to ease the sting. Rick, it's nothing shady, I swear. Rick raised an eyebrow, unconvinced. Then explain it to me. Make me believe it, because right now, it looks bad, man. I hesitated, the secrets of the mirror and the station heavy on my tongue. I'd kept it all so close, but Rick's trustful eyes, the history we shared, all the demanding truth. It's complicated. More than you can imagine. I started my voice low, but I'll show you. Both of you. I noticed Lucy Grant hovering near the door, her intuition clearly piqued. Later that evening, under the guise of casual beers, I led Rick and Lucy into my dimly lit apartment. The mirror, once just a reflective surface, now felt like the gateway to pandemonium. Before I show you, you need to promise me. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, you keep it between us and follow my rules strictly. I instructed, my tone grave. Lucy, ever the skeptic, crossed her arms. You're freaking me out, John. Rick clapped me on the back with a half-hearted chuckle. "Lead the way, officer." I pulled the mirror aside, revealing the dark, elongated tunnel behind it. Rick's chuckle died in his throat. His eyes widened in disbelief while Lucy let out a low whistle. "Holy hell, John, what is this?" Rick stepped closer, his detective instinct kicking in, examining the edges and the depth. "It's a tunnel to another time, another place. It sounds crazy, but the best way I can explain it," I said, stepping into the darkness to demonstrate, hesitant yet intrigued. Rick and Lucy followed. The walk through the tunnel was quiet, the air thick with anticipation and the cool dampness of the unseen world around us. Emerging onto the platform of the station, we were each hit by the authenticity of the scene. The smell of coal and old wood, the sound of distant trains, the murmur of spectral passengers in period attire. All of it was overwhelming. "This is unbelievable," Lucy murmured. Her previous skepticism vanished, replaced by awe and hint of fear. "It's like we've stepped into the past." I reiterated the rules. No eye contact. No speaking to the passengers. Take only what is dropped. And most importantly, never board the train or go beyond the last platform. And when it's time to go, jump in front of the train. "Why all the rules?" Rick asked, scanning the bustling ghosts of the past. "They're not just for show. I don't know what happens if you break them, but I promise you, it's nothing good." I emphasized, watching a porter pass by with a cart of luggage. We moved cautiously along the platform, the spectral figures brushing past us, each locked in their own silent world. The temptation to interact was palpable, but my stern reminder of the rules echoed in our minds. As we turned to leave, a glint of the silver caught my eye, an old coin lying just beside the tracks. I picked it up, showing Rick and Lucy. "Everything here is real, from back then, and it's valuable, but we have to be careful." We spent a few minutes wandering around, collecting oddities off the floor, and when we were ready, with a nod, we jumped down on the tracks and let the blinding light race towards us. Moments later, we came to on the bathroom floor, followed by several moments of silence. "What now?" Lucy asked, the reality of our discovery settling in. "Now? We decide what to do next," I said, knowing well that the temptation of the station, its dangers cloaking an allure, would test us all. Weeks passed as Rick, Lucy, and I regularly visited the station, our pockets growing heavier with each visit. The temptation of wealth overshadowed the dangers, the rules becoming more of a guideline than a lifeline. It was a late summer evening when we found ourselves once again on the familiar platform, the air thick with anticipation and the musty scent of the past. Lucy's eye gleaming with dangerous curiosity pulled Rick aside as I rummaged through a pile of abandoned suitcases. "I want to try something," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the distant rumble of trains. Before Rick could protest, Lucy approached one of the spectral passengers, a woman in a faded flowery dress, her face a blur of muted features. With deft fingers, Lucy slipped the woman's necklace off and into her pocket. A victorious grin spread across her face, but as she turned to Rick, her triumph faltered as her expression of pure, unadulterated horror. Confused, Lucy spun back to the woman, only to find herself staring into the face, now hauntingly clear, mascara-stained tears streaking down her cheeks. "Help me," the woman pleaded, her voice a chilling whisper. I'm sorry, Lucy stammered, her words swallowed by the sudden deafening silence that descended upon the stairs. I, realizing the unfolding catastrophe, could only watch as every spectral figure turned toward Lucy, their faces contorted in a collective rage. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to," Lucy whimpered, her voice small and broken as the ghostly crowd advanced, their hands outstretched, grasping, tearing. In the distance, the conductor's eyes blazed with a fury that burned through the very fabric of reality. Lucy's screams echoed through the station as the vengeful specters descended upon her, their incorporeal forms suddenly all too solid, all too violent. Rick, his mind reeling, stumbled back towards the tracks, his voice cracking as he yelled to me, "We need to leave now." I transfixed by the spot where Lucy had stood just moments before, barely registering Rick's words as we turned to flee. The conductor materialized before us, his presence a suffocating force, his anger palpable. He pointed at me, then at Rick, his promising retribution as he strode towards us with purposeful steps. "Jump, now, in front of the train," I screamed, my voice raw with desperation. But Rick, consumed by panic, made a fateful decision. As the spectral train glided into the station, its form shimmering aberration, Rick leaped through its closing doors, my anguished cries fading behind him. Reaching the platform's edge, I could only watch as the train carried Rick away, his face a mask of sheer terror pressed against the window. The conductor, his scowl deepening, watched the train disappear into the abyss, his vengeance unsated. With a pounding heart and raging breath, I steeled myself for the inevitable. As the next train approached, I closed my eyes, whispered apologies to my fallen friends, and jumped. My hands shook as I stared at the blank wall where the hole once was, the ghost of the portal that had swallowed my friends, now just a patch of mismatched paint in my dimly lit bathroom. The reality of Rick's terrified face, pressed against the window, haunted me. The echo of Lucy's screams emerged with the constant oppressive silence of my apartment. In a frantic haze, I grabbed a hammer and began to tear the drywall, each strike a mix of hope and desperation. Dust and plaster flew around me as I dismantled wall piece by piece, revealing not the eerie station or the darkened tunnel, but the mundane sight of my kitchen tiles through a jagged hole. With nothing left to do, I put the mirror back up, covering the scars of my frenzy. The reflection that stared back at me was a man broken, eyes hollow, and weight of unshared secrets. The following weeks were a blur of police activity and whispered rumors. I participated in the search for Rick and Lucy, my gut twisting with every false lead and every dead end. The precinct was rife with speculation and suspicion, the eyes of my colleagues probing and questioning. I maintained a facade of concerned confusion, but inside, I was full of guilt and fear. At night, I lay awake, the image of my last visit replaying behind my eyelids, the anger in the conductor's eyes, the spectral hands reaching for Lucy, Rick's decision to board the train. The rules we had broken haunted me, each one a lash against my conscience. Weeks turned into a month. The search for Rick and Lucy began to dwindle, the case growing cold but never settling. The precinct slowly returned to its usual rhythm, but I felt detached, moving through my duties as though underwater. One quiet evening, as I sat at my kitchen table nursing a beer, a faint tapping sound pulled me from my thoughts. It was rhythmic, insistent. With a heavy heart, I stood and made my way to the bathroom. The sound grew louder as I approached. I reached out a trembling hand, took the mirror down once more, expecting to see the dark tunnel stretching before me. Instead, there was only a wall. Innocuous and taunting, I replaced the mirror, but as I turned to leave, a small envelope slid out from under the edge of the frame. I picked it up, a paper familiar yet ominously heavy in my hand. I tore it open, and a single folded piece of paper fell into my palm. Unfolding it, I read the new set of rules, my heart sinking with each word. Do not return
Break
for them.
time. Keep listening to the story.
I picked it up, the paper familiar yet ominously heavy in my hand. I tore it open, and a single folded paper fell into my palm. Unfolding it, I read the new set of rules, my heart sinking with each word. Do not return for them. Do not look for the doors where there are none. The past cannot be saved. Remember them as they were.
As this more bumps start to come up, itchy ones on my forearm now.
What?
I have some more bumps coming up on my forearm now.
Turn on the light?
I just put the cream. I don't put the cream on.
Alright.
Isn't that weird?
Hold on.
Where did it come from? It wasn't there when I showered.
Now you can put it on. Try anything.
I'm back. Give me that.
Violeta.
So that who can... bonus. No. There it is. We'll talk to these absolute people outside, and then we'll call it there for the evening. Astarian, we have no idea. Oh, let me help. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. Yup, yup. Oh my gosh, the cats, they're going nuts. Yeah, pick that up. Take all. Alright, we'll call it there now. Good night, everyone. Thank you for watching. Enjoy. I'll see you later for episode 2. Peace.